Are you listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other platform where you can leave a rate or review? Do you like what we're doing? If the answer to all of that is yes, please consider quickly giving us a 5-star rate. And if you wouldn't mind leaving us a nice review, we greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, let's do this.
Hello, welcome to the Ghosts of Harrenhal. My name's Simon.
And I'm Mackelly.
Thank you for joining us for episode 326 of our chapter-by-chapter book review of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Today we're discussing chapter 54 of A Dance with Dragons, which is Cersei 1.
And as always, we're going to chat about the chapter and try not to spoil any future plot points for you. Unless, of course, you have a Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer tier that includes spoilers, well, then we are going to spoil things for you. But regardless, hopefully we'll provide you some entertainment along the way.
We'll summarise what happened, discuss our thoughts on it, provide some useful background, compare it to the television show, indulge in a little pedantry and cover some relevant news and listener correspondence. Be sure to check out the show notes. They'll provide some additional information about the characters and geography of this chapter. How are you, Mackelly?
I'm doing all right. I just put lip balm on right before we started, and saying words that begin with P are proving challenging. Yes, future plot points was quite a challenge for me. But aside from that, I'm doing well.
I appreciate you beautifying yourself for me.
Well, you know, it's a time of year. You got to keep your lips from getting chapped and such. You don't want any of that action.
Okay, I'll believe you. You got a story. There's something there's under witty banter, ladies and gentlemen. We have something. Mackelly, why don't you tell us what happened?
Well, the Super Bowl was this past weekend.
It was. I paid zero attention to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
watch a single play of it. And apparently I didn't miss much.
It was incredibly boring. Unless you were a Seahawks fan. Then
yeah, I mean,
I'm sure it was incredibly exciting. But
cheering for a sports team that's winning is always fun, even in a bad game, yes.
Yes, it was quite the snooze fest. But before that, so I normally host a football national championship party, which you've attended.
Which for our international listeners means college football.
Yes, college national championship. Not to be confused with the Super Bowl championship or the NFL
professional
championship.
Football. Yes, exactly.
So a college national championship party, which you have attended in the past.
Indeed.
And my friend Scott, who I've mentioned from time to time on the show, he usually hosts just a gathering. It's not really a party, just a gathering of some guys to watch the Super Bowl. And but the day of, he texted some of us and said, one of the guys couldn't make it. He's invited another guy that he works with who none of us have met before. And it was like, he said he's a cool guy, all that. I was like, oh, cool.
It's not 2 weeks in a igloo. You know?
Right, yeah. He said he was a nice guy and all that. So I was like, oh, cool. Okay, so I arrive at Scott's house and a car arrives with me, pulls in the driveway. I pull up on the street, and we kind of all met at the sidewalk in front of the house that leads up to the front door, you know?
Yeah.
So we exchanged pleasantries. It was a man and a woman, and I thought, oh, this must be Mark that Scott had mentioned, and this must be his significant other. So we walk up to the door, and they go in ahead of me, and we walk in, and the dogs come running, and petting the dogs, saying hi and everything, and there's 2 options to get to the kitchen where I could tell everyone is. You could go through the dining room to the right, or you could go down the longer hallway and come at the kitchen from the other angle.
Okay.
I went that way. I went the long way. I get to the kitchen, and those 2 people are nowhere to be seen. And I'm like, where did those 2 people that I walked in with go? And Jen says, we didn't know who they were. Jen is Scott's wife. We didn't know who they were. They were at the wrong house.
So you just barreled them in, and they thought you were with them. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
It was the best part of the whole night.
That's tremendous. So by the time you got to after the dog petting, they'd figured it out and scarfed.
Yeah, apparently they rounded the dining room and saw everybody and thought, we don't know any of them. And Scott or Jen must have said, I believe they said, you must be in the wrong house. And I missed all of it because I was taking the long way around. Oh, that was fantastic.
Oh, that's really good. I think they should have stuck around.
I know, right? They looked like they had a nice little casserole of some variety.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
I think I've told before that my first weekend in America when I moved here, it was Super Bowl weekend, and I crashed a party. I just knocked on a random door and I invited me in.
That tracks.
Yeah, that's what I would do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's on brand.
Nothing's changed.
No, nothing at all. What about you? There's something here that you've written as well.
Actually, you've reminded me. I have kind of a Super Bowl story. So, Lucas has been home again because this whole him leaving and me getting all teary was just like pointless because he's constantly here.
Right.
It's because of the weather. He's had so much classes cancelled. He's like, why am I just sitting here in my dorm when I could be home visiting my girlfriend?
Right. Yes.
So he's been home a lot.
Logical question.
Yeah. Just a couple of days before the Super Bowl, like Friday or something, he comes in with Lydia and he says, "Oh, Mum, Dad, Lydia's parents have invited you to come up to their house for the Super Bowl." And me and Carson had just been discussing how we had zero interest in the Super Bowl and had no plans to watch it. And we both lied through our teeth. We're like, "Oh, that's great. We'd love to do that. We can't wait."
Uh-huh.
So Lucas says that, and Lydia sort of shoots him a look and says, "Hey, come here." And they go off and they start talking. And like 20 minutes later, Lucas comes back and says, "We might have been at cross purposes there. Parents may not have actually invited you for the Super Bowl."
How did they get the wires crossed that badly?
Because I think they invited Lucas and he just misunderstood it. And so... So the thing was, they're in panic mode, texting Lydia's mother to say, "Can Simon and Carson come for the Super Bowl?" But we're like, stop, don't do that.
we don't lying.
We'd love to meet your parents, but we do not want to go to the Super Bowl. Please don't make us do that. So it all worked out because eventually the mum texted me and said, "Simon, we didn't invite you. I'm sorry. We would love to hang out with you sometime." And I was like, "That's perfect. We would love to meet you sometime." But
it all worked out in the end. Everybody got what they wanted in the end. Just a little awkwardness in between. Now, you could have showed up in the wrong house and then could just gone back home.
They could have just denied it was them. I think you want next door.
But wait, I see Lydia right there.
What I love about your story is the thought that Scott and what was Scott's wife? Jen. Scott and Jen might have gone, "Did Mackelly bring friends?" And like they just played along for a little while, "Hey, welcome."
Yeah, that's very possible. If I had gone through the dining room like them, it's just more narrow, and they went that way, and so I went the other way, just so we weren't all crammed.
And you never saw them again?
Never saw them again. I turned the corner and they were gone, and I stood there for a bit waiting for them to appear, and they never did. And I said, "What happened to the people I walked in with? I thought that was your friend Mark."
Now, I will say, the way you reminded yourself to tell that story in the witty banter comments, I thought they would have been making out in the dining room. That's what I thought was going to All right, well, let's get down to business. How did we leave Cersei Lannister? So last time we saw Cersei was a long time ago. She was finally getting the tables turned on her. If you recall, she'd had Osney Kettleblack confess to bedding Margaery Tyrell, and consequently the young queen had been arrested by the Faith. High on her success, Cersei went to visit her daughter-in-law in the Great Sept of Baelor. Margaery was beside herself, claiming her innocence. Cersei sort of passive-aggressively reassured her that a member of the King's Guard would defend her when it came to trial by combat, should it come to it. Margaery demanded that her brother Garland be sent for to defend her. Cersei refused, and at that point, Margaery, I don't know if you remember this, but it was a dramatic moment because Margaery Tyrell had kept up the pretense of liking Cersei since the very first moment we met her, and it finally slipped, and she called her vile, scheming, and evil. So I seem to remember cheering.
If the shoe fits.
Mm-hmm. The High Septon then showed Cersei to Osney Kettleblack, who was chained and obviously abused. Cersei begins to worry because she doesn't understand why someone who's gone to the faith to confess his sins should be being tortured. Well, the High Septon explained that the confessors were rarely so happy and verbose with their confessions.
Yeah.
Under duress, Osney's story had changed significantly, and in particular, which queen he'd slept with.
Ah.
Cersei, not Marjorie. Cersei at that point bolts for the door, but is apprehended and brought to a cell. There she's kept awake and constantly asked to confess. She gets one visitor, Qyburn. He's been ousted from the small council, but still reports to them as Master of Whisperers, and he told her that his champion is ready for her. She dictated a letter, if you remember,
the famous letter?
Jaime, begging for his help, and that is how we left her.
Okay.
In dire straits.
Yes.
All right, why don't we give the summary of this one then?
All right. Well, Queen Cersei's accommodations high in a tower of the Great Septa Baelor leave much to be desired. She is constantly cold, with no heat source, a high window letting in only cold air and noise, and a simple shift for clothing. It is her second of such shift. The first she shredded in defiance. But when, after a couple of cold days, she was given a second one, she offered begrudging thanks and donned it.
She has not had a visitor in so long. She has no idea what's happening outside the walls. When she asked her 3 Septa guards for information, she receives only silence. She took heart that Jaime was coming, and soon. Her only fear was that he might race ahead of his army in his haste, and he would need every man sworn to him to face down the poor fellows who guard the surroundings of the Sept.
Shouldn't have to worry about that.
She doesn't know.
No,
it's one of her
doesn't.
worries that we could reassure her, but we don't have the chance.
She wonders about Sir Loras Tyrell. When Qyburn visited, he told her how Loras was dying on Dragonstone from wounds sustained while taking the castle. She hopes he's dead or will be soon. His death might be her best shot at freedom by making space on the Kingsguard for a worthy knight to act as her champion.
The Queen thinks of her false friends, treacherous servants, men who had professed undying love for her, even her own blood. All of them had abandoned her. So Osney Kettleblack was too weak to take his secrets to the grave, conceding those secrets to the whip. She'd raised all 3 Kettleblack brothers high from the street scum that they were when they met. Orain Waters and Autumn Merryweather had both fled the city, one taking her new royal fleet, the other taking her only friend Taena.
Her septas never let her sleep long, waking her day and night just as she dozes off, commanding to hear her confess her crimes. The lack of sleep is taking its toll on her mind. However, this night, when Septa Unella enters, Cersei was on her knees begging to confess. The next morning, the 3 septas lead the queen down into the sept, their attitudes toward her having improved. Cersei asks about Tommen. He's well. The queen is always with him.
Has Marjorie slipped the charges against her? Cersei asks, will there be a trial? Soon, but her brother Unella cuts Septa Scholera off. It is not their place to discuss such matters. Cersei finds the High Septon in his meagre sanctum, looking as plain as ever. When Cersei drops to her knees to confess, he asks Unella to take notes and dismisses the other septas.
Cersei launches in, confessing she's laid with men outside of marriage. Osney Kettleblack and Lancel are obvious confessions. The High Septon already knows about those. She throws in the other Kettleblack brothers as well. Who knows what they've said? Better to confess too much than too little here. She cites loneliness and fear as her reason, being only a woman amongst all these unworthy men who meant her child harm. Cersei sobs easily, but the High Septon is unmoved.
He dismisses these sins as common. He wants to know about the more serious charges. Her lover, Osney Kettleblack, confessed that he killed the previous High Septon on Cersei's orders, and that he made up salacious lies about Queen Marjorie, again on Cersei's orders. Cersei denies both vehemently. She loves Marjorie, and maybe Osney did kill the High Septon in a misguided attempt to please Cersei.
What of Lancel's confession? That he conspired with Cersei to kill King Robert? What? Is she a warg now? Her beloved husband was killed by a boar. She is innocent of the charge. And what about the accusation that her children are the product of incest? Just Stannis' outlandish lies to steal his nephew's crown. Of this, the High Septon tends to agree. Stannis worships a red demon. However, the accusation still stands. Only a trial will prove the truth.
Cersei is disappointed, but does not voice her feelings. She asks only to see her son. The High Septon denies the request, but will allow one guest per day. The septas take her to a much nicer room with much more comfortable appointments. That night she sleeps until dawn, until her uncle Kevan pays her a visit. She can tell by his demeanour he's still angry with her. He scolds her for corrupting his son Lancel, and she begs for forgiveness with hugs and kisses. Kevan forgives her and says he has poor tidings.
Is it Tommen or Jaime? Tommen is fine. Jaime, on the other hand, is missing. He disappeared in the Riverlands with a woman.
Wait, Jaime's other hand is missing?
Wait a second. That's a real problem. He disappeared in the Riverlands with a woman, possibly Brienne of Tarth. That is preposterous. Clearly her letter never reached him. Kevan goes on. Sellsword companies are landing throughout the south, and he's clueless as to how Stannis found the gold to hire them. He's also helpless to do anything about them. Only Mace Tyrell has enough men, and he's refusing to lift a finger until Marjorie is cleared of her crimes.
We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. Are you ready to make some unforgettable memories? Well, if so, consider the Marriott Bonvoy program. Discover the perfect destination for your summer getaway and unlock exclusive deals on luxurious accommodations. With our affiliate partnership, you'll enjoy unbeatable savings and a seamless booking experience. Don't let summer slip away. Visit Marriott Bonvoy today and make this vacation season one for the books. Use our Ghosts of Harrenhal affiliate page to check it all out and buy Bonvoy points or give some as a gift. The link to our page is in the show notes.
Kevan says that the High Septon requires her, Cersei, to atone for her sins. A walk in front of the city. Cersei's refusal cuts him off. She would sooner die. He tells her that she might well get her wish. She's to be tried for regicide, deicide, incest, and high treason. He now cuts her off. It is not safe to speak freely here. She will stand trial. If she chooses trial by combat, it must be a member of the Kingsguard who champions her. Cersei wants to know how Marjorie is walking free while she rots away here. Turns out that all of the men who came forward against her have recanted. The High Septon's case is very weak.
Regardless of it all, her rule is at an end. He is Tommen's Lord Regent, and Mace Tyrell is Hand of the King. There is worse news to come. Kevan tells of an incident in Dorne. Myrcella was attacked and lost an ear. Sir Aerys Oakheart died defending her. Cersei immediately blames Tyrion. Kevan says she sees Tyrion in every shadow, but Cersei is convinced. He killed Joffrey, father, and now attacks Myrcella. Tommen is next.
Suddenly an idea strikes her. You are certain that Aerys was killed. That leaves a spot on the Kingsguard. Randall Tarley is drafting up a list of replacement options for Jaime, but Jaime is missing. Cersei begs her uncle for the blood that they share and the love he had for her father. Please bring a white cloak to Qyburn. He will know just the man. Trust Qyburn. Tell him the time has come.
Wow. So I would tell you, Cersei's a lot of things, and she never disappoints with the drama, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. Cersei chapters are just better.
Yeah.
They're just better. They're better than Daenerys chapters. I like Daenerys more than Cersei.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm easily more enthused when I get a Cersei chapter than a Daenerys chapter. I don't care if she's got dragons.
Yeah, I tend to agree. She just, the drama just swirls around her always. Mm-hmm. Mostly brought on by her own doing. But
of course, yeah, absolutely. One of the first things we learn is that she still very much expects Jaime to come riding to her rescue, which is, given all that's passed under the bridge since last we saw her, it seems incredible. But of course, not that much time has passed for her. It's the time that has passed for her is the time it's taken for a raven to go up to the Riverlands to tell him and for him to ride back. So she is expecting it to happen.
Yeah.
But we know that he ain't coming back. He got that letter and he was disinterested.
Yeah, he had it burned immediately with no response. She's afraid that he's racing ahead of his army and is going to show up one man and get himself killed.
Do you think she's forgotten how they left each other?
Yes. Well, I think.
I mean, I know
struggles.
I have, but
I think she struggles with ever seeing her at fault in anything, and I think she sorely misunderstands where his head is right now.
Yeah.
She did not spend enough time with him while they were in King's Landing to understand this sort of blooming metamorphosis he had been undertaking. He can still be hard and cold when it's required, but there's more of a compassionate, honorable side, which we might call the Brienne effect, possibly.
Yeah, I like it.
And he when he first arrived in King's Landing, he offered to marry her and announce to the world their relationship, and she shot that down with reckless abandon.
Yeah.
And I think she fails to see how her treatment of him has affected his way that he sees her.
Right. I don't think he stopped loving her.
No.
But you'd have to be pretty narcissistic not to realize that talking to him and treating the way she did wasn't going to have an effect on his willingness to drop everything for her, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's definitely degrees of love. And
that the only Jaime chapter that we got, he thought to himself, I can now return back to the king, and then thought, okay, well, by that I mean Cersei. So, yeah. That he definitely still loves his twin. But
exactly. But that's actually, you're right, it's a perfect metaphor for it, because it wasn't his first thought.
Right.
When he thought about it and examined his deeper motives, he accepted the fact that it was to get back to Cersei, but it wasn't his first thought.
Yeah,
his first thought was his son.
The first time he tried to get from the Riverlands back to King's Landing, Cersei was his only thought.
Exactly. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
But the news of her with other men have also changed how he views her. The whole she's sleeping with Lancel, Osmond Kettleblack, and Moonboy. That just is a loop playing in his head, and now Lancel has confirmed that yes, he did sleep with her.
Right, but not to Jaime. Oh no,
he did.
He did tell Jaime.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten that. Yeah.
So, but it's so on brand for Cersei to not think that there's any repercussions for such actions. That he would just forgive her, and they will go back to being Jaime and Cersei.
Yeah. She thinks of the men who betrayed her. She describes them as false friends, treacherous servants, men who profess love for her own blood. So false friends, I think she's thinking of Tyenna Merryweather, perhaps?
I don't know. She thinks at the end of that
she's thinking about the men who betrayed her, right?
Yeah,
so that's not Tyenna.
Tyenna is the only true friend she had, and that Orton Merryweather took her away, which is a little bit surprising because I felt like she never fully trusted Tyenna and said as much to Jaime, I believe.
Yes. I think Cersei may have some issues.
Really? You don't say.
Because I don't think she recognizes the fact that if you don't trust a person, they're not really your friend, you know?
Yeah. It makes it hard. It definitely taints a relationship.
Right. To say she's your only friend and you don't trust her is a bad combination, you know?
Yes.
What about the people who aren't your friends? You know?
But we've talked plenty about her smallest council, full of men she barely knew, men that she knew she could dominate, and we watched her root out and silence anyone of vetted caliber like Grandmaster Pycelle, who has his own dubiousness, but he has been pro-Lannister this whole time. But she ousted Barristan Selmy, and she ultimately is responsible for Jaime not being in King's Landing.
Yeah. So she doesn't know that Orain Waters and she doesn't know all this at this time, does she?
Qyburn told her, I believe.
Oh, Qyburn told her.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So amongst her false friends, of course, is Orain Waters, who she made admiral of the fleet, and then he stole the fleet. I mean, that's a pretty bad miscalculation right there.
Another person who she just up-jumped to a position he hadn't earned in any way. She just thought he looked a bit like Rhaegar.
Yeah, so her biggest problem here, I mean, I think it's hard to know what her biggest problem is, because Lancel is obviously, the Faith obviously trusts Lancel because he's basically a convert. So
Right.
what he's going to tell them, they're going to believe. But Osney did not play this very well. If you march into confession with a big eating grin on your face and say, I slept with the Queen.
I like how you silenced yourself there. There was no, we didn't take that out in post. You did it live.
They're going to be suspicious, right?
Yes.
That's not going to be, you know. Now, he's been tortured, and I know I wouldn't stand up to torture, and I know that Cersei expects everybody else to stand up to torture to defend her.
Right.
Yeah. But what's he got to gain at this point? You know, I mean, the Faith have got him in their clutches and they're torturing him, and he has some pretty good gossip to share that he murdered the High Septon and that he slept with Cersei. Two big ones.
And that he made up all the things about Marjorie Tyrell.
Things. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And
so it's, I mean, the thing about that is he was such a pivotal point here, because now the case against Marjorie is completely destroyed. You know, basically the person who led to her being arrested has now recanted every accusation, but also he's put way worse crimes onto Cersei than Marjorie was ever getting accused of.
Yeah, and everything you said is absolutely true, and I'm going to speak to that in a second, but I do want to bring up the Blue Bard, because he's the only one staying true to his word. But
right,
I
but
think
as Kevan says,
yeah, he's gone mad.
He's lost his mind. Yeah,
he was double tortured. He was tortured by Qyburn and Cersei to say the lies, and then tortured by the Faith to recant, but apparently he hasn't recanted. So
he doesn't know that if he does recant, the torture would stop. He hasn't figured this out because he's lost his tiny mind.
Yes, sadly. I mean, what a tragic story that is.
Yeah. But you know what? Don't be a singer in George Martin's circle. That's the answer. I
had that same thought in the middle of the night. Well, this morning, technically. I was going through Marillion, the Blue Bard, the Simon Silvertongue, Hamish the Harper. I mean, the list goes on and on. Even Abel the Bard, who we all think is Mance, he could be in big bad trouble, situation as it is as well.
Maybe he'll get away with it by not being a real bard. You know, yes. He reveals himself to be Mance. He might get away with just some torture. You know.
But now back to your comments about Osney. What did she base his ability to follow through on beyond just her having sex with him and promises of, more of being? The promise was that when he completed all his tasks, she would take him as her paramour. And she thought that would hold up over, any other issues.
Yeah, the thing is, that's a good way to win someone over, but they're not. It's kind of temporary. It's kind of like a facade of being won over. You know? The next day, you're not having sex with her anymore. That was in the past.
Right.
You've got those memories forever. You can keep those.
You're exactly right. Like, what have you done for me lately? Kind of situation eventually.
Right. These guys are torturing me now.
Right. But we get news from House Tyrell that Marjorie is out on bail. And there was something about Sir Loras. When Cersei hears that that the Queen is with Tommen all the time, she thinks, how in the world did she get out and I'm rotting away in here? And she says, will there be a trial? And one of them, Scalera, possibly one of the septas, says, there will be, yes, but her brother. And that's when Unella cuts her off and says, that's not our place to talk about those things.
Yeah.
So,
from what we said about where things stood, you would assume that they were talking about Garland, because that's who Marjorie was asking for when Cersei visited her
Very
in her
true.
cell.
Yes. Yeah.
But could it be Loras? Could he be recovering from death's door?
Or he's died, and they're allowing grieving time and a funeral and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Either way, though, there is a space on the Kingsguard, whether Loras has died or not, because Aerys, good old dumb Aerys, has managed to get himself killed.
Right. And so Cersei wanted Loras dead for multiple reasons. One, because she's attempting to bring on the downfall of the Tyrells. She considers them her enemy multiple times in this chapter, even though they're the only one with an army that can defend her son. But, we'll overlook that to make them her enemies. But also because she is looking for an open spot on the Kingsguard for this mysterious knight that Qyburn says is finally ready to be her champion. And like you said, turns out to be unnecessary, because news reaches King's Landing of Aerys Oakheart's death in Dorne, which, makes this replacement knight
even if Loras survives now, it won't be a big problem for Cersei, but she does hate the Tyrells, so she does want him to die. But the rotten fruit of what she's sown here is beginning to flourish, because the thing that Kevan tells her about all of these sellsword companies landing south of them is, well, two things could prevent this. I mean, we know what that is. That is almost certainly the Golden Company coming from Essos, landing in Dorne and the southern part of the Stormlands. But there's two things that could prevent that. And those people do not have Cersei's or the Lannisters' best interests at heart, not even slightly. What you need is a navy and an army to fight them.
Yep.
But her shenanigans have cost them the navy, and now the army that was there, it was on hand, has now rushed back to defend Marjorie.
Yeah. And that's her machinations led to that as well.
Exactly.
And Mace Tyrell was sieging Storm's End when all this happened in King's Landing. He was down there. He was in the south. He was where all these sellsword ships are landing.
Right.
And he left. So
yep. So they've landed without any problems at all. And which was the bigger threat to Tommen? Was it Marjorie Tyrell, his young wife, who seems to be fond of him? Or is it these marauding hosts of sellswords from the east landing in Westeros? One of those is going to kill Tommen, and it isn't Marjorie.
Yeah. That seems like a pretty solid assumption right there.
She didn't know this was coming.
Right.
But when you keep stabbing in the back your main military commanders, you're going to pay the price.
Yeah, absolutely. And she is, I mean, it might not just be her. It could be her son and everyone else involved that's
exactly
pay the price.
Exactly. They're not coming to topple Cersei. They're coming to topple Tommen.
Right. Now, this replacement that Qyburn has is a complete mystery to us. Qyburn requested an enormous armor that was too big for any man and called this knight last Cersei chapter back in A Feast for Crows a champion that no living man can withstand.
Yeah.
But we don't know anything about this particular knight. So
big fella.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mm-hmm. But it seems like Qyburn isn't the person who would be training a big fella to get better at arms.
That is true.
It seems more likely that Qyburn has found a big fella that he is perhaps reanimating in some way.
Yeah.
That's more like a Qyburn move.
That's definitely more Qyburn style. Mm-hmm. Yes.
But we'll see. Maybe he's just blowing smoke,
Yeah,
at some point he could probably just walk out of King's Landing and no one will stop him.
She has put all of her faith. She begs her uncle at the very last lines, "For the love you bear my father and for the blood we share, take a white cloak to Qyburn. Tell him it is time. He will give you your champion." That's a lot
Size
of faith.
XXL.
Yeah. Don't be bringing any medium cloaks.
To be fair to Kevan, if he sees this guy, he'd be like, "Oh, it looks like a good choice, honestly."
Right. If the knight is what Qyburn's painted him to be.
Yeah. I will say that in her confession, Cersei rather betrays her gender somewhat.
Yeah, sure does.
She blames her actions on being a weak and feeble woman, and it's like, come on, of all the things you could say, but it really worked. The High Septon totally agreed with her. Sort of.
He didn't argue it anyway. He said,
no.
Yeah, that's true. But before the confession, I noticed the irony in her attempting to appeal to the natural sympathy of one woman to another when trying to find a way in with these septas.
Septas, yeah.
And it reminded me of two things: of the Battle of the Blackwater, when she was sitting there with all those women and considered them all so weak and useless aside from her. And then I also wondered where that natural sympathy was for Felice Stokeworth, who she gave to Qyburn.
Yes, short supply, I think, is the right term. Yeah. But these septas are abusing her, and I get why she's mad at them. They are waking her up every hour on the hour, rather like the Lucas sleeping experiment.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Eventually, he confessed to deicide. But yeah, I mean that will break you very, very quickly. That kind of treatment. I mean,
oh yeah.
I'll give it to Cersei. She's a toughie because she's lasted. I mean, it's we don't know the timelines, but it's weeks at least. She's not broken down. And the thing is, the calculating part of Cersei might have broken down a lot quicker. Because you can calculate this, and actually, she lasted so long that she probably did herself some physical and mental damage in lasting this long. And it must have made those calculations she was making in front of the High Septon all the more complex,
Yeah, I think so much.
She was walking a tightrope in that confession.
Oh, yeah. Several times she thought to herself, "Be careful here."
Exactly, yeah. But with the sleep deprivation and sort of like the poor diet and being cold all the time, it would be hard to keep those thoughts straight, but she manages it. I'm just saying, if she'd capitulated a few weeks earlier, more calculatingly, she probably could have walked that tightrope easier. But you know what? Doing it this way gave it a patina of truthfulness. The High Septon believed her because she looked broken.
That is very true. She didn't just the next morning come to them and say, "Okay, I'm ready."
With her blonde locks flowing. Yeah,
I'm ready to confess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. That it's kind of a catch-22, because I think it was pride that caused her to hold out this long. And she was expecting Jaime to show up and rescue her.
That's true.
Those two things.
That's true. Yeah. I will say though, I actually think the High Septon made a slight miscalculation, because when she says she's ready to confess, they actually give her a good night's sleep. They don't disturb her that night when she says she's ready to confess.
Yes.
And so actually, I wonder if her mind was a bit sharper, that when they should have dragged her off there and then,
Yeah, because she thinks to herself the next morning after a good night's sleep, she felt a lot better, felt closer to her normal self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what she confesses to, as we said, was relations with Lancel and all three Kettleblack brothers. And she actually thinks, she's calculating at the time, better to over-confess to the things that don't really matter than to deny,
Yeah, so we knew about Lancel, obviously.
Yeah, and so did the Faith, obviously.
Right. We highly suspected Osmond. I mean, we haven't had actual, witness proof of it, but even as much as Tyrion saying Lancel, Osmond Kettleblack, and Moonboy, and there were moments when it seemed like she and Osmond had something going on. But the news about the third brother, Osfred, is pretty new. We hadn't heard anything about Osfred to this point.
But I wonder if she's lying. I wonder if she's adding an untruth on top of it, just in case they all three confessed
Yes.
The third one didn't feel like didn't want to look like he was missing out in front of the other two.
Yeah, I think that is.
Yeah, I did too.
Me too. Yeah, I think that's very likely what is happening here. She's lying just in case because she knows there's bigger crimes that she is not going to be able to admit to.
Because, again, adultery, and to be clear, she does not confess to adultery because she claims all of this was after Robert's death.
Which is true.
Which is true apart from Lancel.
Well, yes. We didn't know she was sleeping with Lancel until after Robert's death.
Oh, but she was?
She convinced him to give Robert the strong wine. There's ways she might have done that.
We'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by Audible. To get a free audiobook, or 2 if you're an Amazon Prime member, go to our exclusive URL, audibletrial.com/ghostsharrenhal. You can find the link in our show notes.
Okay. See, I think I'm basing it on the TV show, because on the TV show, I'm pretty sure that convincing him was while they were in bed together.
Yeah, I don't think we actually were present for the convincing. But it stands to reason that, and maybe it's been explicitly said. It's been so long ago I can't recall off the top of my head. But actually, now think it through, because she probably didn't start sleeping with Lancel until Jaime left King's Landing, right? She probably wasn't sleeping with Lancel at the same time. Now, when did Jaime leave? After Ned was injured in that
After
fight.
Ned was injured, but before before Robert died.
Yes.
So actually, there's only a small window of time. So she may be telling the truth here, that these were post Robert's death.
Possibly, but somehow she convinced Lancel. Now, she could have used logic and said, he's mistreating my son, or
future promises, you know.
Oh, yeah, that too.
I will not commit adultery, but if he was dead, then... You know.
Maybe, yeah. That's possible too.
Yeah. Oh, so that is interesting, because I thought she was flat out lying about that, but that's...
I didn't go back and look it up. But I don't think we knew for sure until Tyrion found them together.
Right. Which, I mean, again, it could have been a reward rather than a prior arrangement thing. But anyway, regardless of whether it's adultery or just, sleeping with someone outside of the bonds of marriage, all of this pales into insignificance behind the 4 big ones. I mean, we're talking incest, treason, regicide, and deicide, which has got to be the greatest crime of all time.
She's like, how did I kill a god? The reason that it's deicide... This
better go in the opera of my life, let me tell you.
The reason that it's considered deicide is because the High Septon is kind of the human... I don't know, what's the right word?
Manifestation?
Yeah, manifestation of the gods. So when you kill him, you're killing the gods. That's how they got that one in there.
Yeah. She does 2 very clever things on of these 4 crimes. I mean, she flat out denies killing Robert.
Yep.
Therefore, she denies treason. But the treason one is tricky because... That's really the treason. I mean, obviously, if you kill the king, you're kind of guilty of treason. But the real charge of treason here is for trying to frame Marjorie. That one could stick.
Right.
But the other 2, what am I left with? I'm left with the deicide. The deicide, she very cleverly says what could be true, which is, I did not like him. He was a terrible High Septon, as you know, Mr. High Sparrow. So I'm glad he's dead, but I never ordered it. But that doesn't mean Osney Kettleblack didn't recognize my wishes and go carry them out without me saying it. If that happened, I'm very sorry, but I didn't do it on purpose.
Yes, which might have been that good night's sleep that
exactly, because that's really good. I mean, like when she said that, I was like, oh, that's compelling what you just said. And then the other one, which is also very clever, is the incest one, where she just throws it immediately back to the High Septon. That is Stannis' lie.
Yep.
The only reason you've even heard that accusation is because Stannis wants to usurp the throne from his nephew.
Yep. He sent out that letter. He sent out that letter to everybody.
And if Stannis was an adherent of the faith of the Seven, the High Septon wouldn't listen to her. But he isn't. He's gone over to the other side. And so he's like, well, you've raised a good point there, actually. Now you've said it.
He does really side with her, and she's thinking,
exactly.
That sounds kind of promising, the way he responded to that. Yeah, it's the whole confession scene is great acting by Cersei. But the High Septon's not completely fooled, because there will be a trial.
Well, that's what he says. I mean, to me, actually, within the confines of the book, this is actually not unreasonable. She has to atone for the sins she admitted to. The ones she's denying, there's evidence against her, so it has to be weighed up. So she gets a trial by combat for those. Yeah, that all seems fairly reasonable to me.
Yeah.
I think the atonement she's going to be asked to do for her sins is a little bit incommensurate with her sins. It should be like 3 Hail Marys might be enough.
But confessing is not without its perks, though. She is given a much nicer room with warm blankets and good food and a peaceful night's sleep. And most importantly, access to 1 guest per day. Yeah.
And when Kevan visits, it's a very interesting scene because...
Oh, 1 guest minus her son. The king is off the table.
Yes, he's off the table.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Continue.
But yeah, it's obviously he left King's Landing in a distinct huff because he thought he should have been given the regency, and he fought horribly with Cersei. She threw wine at him, and he left. Now he's back. He's taken charge. He's actually assumed the regency, not just Hand of the King. He's made Mace Tyrell Hand of the King. He himself is now the regent. He's got all he wants in terms of that. And Cersei, she's beautiful, and she throws herself at him and hugs him. And eventually his heart melts a little bit. He's no Tywin.
Right.
Yeah. So his heart melts and he hugs her back kind of thing, and he sort of like forgives her. He's actually now more mad about what he's now learned about what she did with Lancel.
Yeah. And it seems to be, the way the conversation goes, it seems to be more about her corrupting him sexually. Right. But there is no mention of making him a cat's paw in the plot to kill Robert, which Lancel confessed to.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing about that is, it is still kind of like, it's hard to make a linear path. I gave him more wine than he should have drunk while he was boar hunting. Yeah. It's a pretty obtuse way of murdering someone.
Yeah. How do you prove that his wife talked his squire into giving him too much wine while he was on a boar hunt and she was not even in the area?
I wonder if the nucleus of Kevan's anger is what Lancel has become.
Oh, yeah.
Lancel has become this like devotee of the faith and left his wife to, become one of the poor fellows. And he's basically lost his son, and it's all traceable back to this affair that he had,
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that.
So part of Kevan's news is the update on Jaime. Jaime's been seen in the Riverlands with a woman.
Yeah, disappeared with a woman.
Right. And which is when we left Jaime, as I recall, he met up with Brienne, and she said that the two of them had to go and find Arya.
Sansa. Well, I think she just said the Stark girl.
The Stark girl. Okay, yeah. So, and he had to come alone. So the fact that the two of them were seen, just the two of them, makes sense if Jaime said yes to this request.
Right, and none of it made any sense because she said if you don't come alone, the mountain is going, or not the mountain, but the hound is going to kill her. And we know, because we were there when it happened, that she agreed to kill Jaime for Lady Stoneheart in order to save Pod, basically. When Pod was being hanged, that's when she decided to agree to do it. The question is...
It kind of does make sense then. I mean, it's not true, but it does make sense.
Well, yes. But the question is she supposed to do it herself or lure him into a trap set by the Brotherhood Without Banners? You would think that Lady Stoneheart would want to do it herself.
That's what I would think too. I mean, because otherwise, Brienne, she'd say, all right, just like you, Scarpa.
Yeah.
And, give me your gold hand.
We're going to cut off your other hands. You'll be the guy with no hands. It can't possibly be Jaime. But then the question is, would Brienne go through with it? Or
she wouldn't go through with doing it herself. That's the point.
Well,
that's why they'll say bring him back, because,
But will she... Are we being set up to think that she is complying, and really the two of them are hatching some sort of
rescue pod plan?
Yeah,
because I assume if I'm Lady Stoneheart, I keep Pod until she's followed through on the rest of this.
Definitely. Yeah. Yes. But Cersei assumes that the letter never reached Jaime. She can't fathom, again, that her actions would have consequences. No, the letter never reached him. He would never leave me to go off with that woman.
Right. So Kevan tells Cersei that she's to do a walk of atonement in front of the city. We don't know what the details of this are, but she doesn't seem very pleased with this prospect.
No, he never finishes exactly what this would entail, but Cersei cuts him off and is dead set against it. So it must be something pretty awful, because she wants out of here. She's been in this tower for so long, and this is what she needs to do to get out of the tower, and she outright refuses to do it.
Yeah. Says she'd rather die, and Kevan says, well, that probably is the alternative at this point.
Yes. So maybe that will change her mind a little bit.
Yeah. I do think Kevan has definitely taken control here. He's taken on the regency. He's reappointed a more serious sounding small council, a less small council.
Yes.
He actually might be very good for the Seven Kingdoms. He's wise, he's experienced, he's not as brutal as his brother Tywin, that's for sure. I mean, just the hugging Cersei here, Tywin would not have hugged her.
Yeah, probably not.
No, he would have let her hug him, fine, but he wouldn't have hugged her back. He's also way less vicious and thin-skinned than Cersei.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Are two of her Achilles heels.
He's very even-keeled, which could be just what the realm needs right now.
Right, and could be what Tommen needs too, because Tommen hasn't had a lot of good influences in his life. I mean, possibly...
Very true.
Marjorie maybe is the closest he's had. I was going to say Grand Maester Pycelle, but he's just a wild card. No.
Yeah. No, Marjorie, you're right. Marjorie could be as well.
Yeah, but Marjorie has an agenda too. Cersei's not completely wrong about that, but Kevan is a Lannister. He would look after Tommen, but he would also teach him to be a better ruler, I think.
Yes, I completely agree. And I also agree with your idea that this is a much bigger small council than her smallest council. We have Mace Tyrell as hand of the king. Yeah. Well, who's a terrible person, but he's a good leader, there's no disputing that. Mace Tyrell is hand of the king. Paxter Redwine is Lord Admiral, which makes sense because he's the only one with a fleet.
He's a Redwine.
Yes. Randall Tarley is Justicar or Justiciar. I don't know how you say that. And then Grand Maester Pycelle and Harris Swift will continue in their roles. Grand Maester Pycelle being Grand Maester and Harris Swift being Lord Treasurer. Swift also happens to be Kevin's good father. So maybe he was kept on for that. But it's just a much better suited council table here. You got experienced leaders who have been well vetted, who will speak their own mind. None of these. Maybe Harris Swift and Grand Maester Pycelle is Grand Maester Pycelle, but the rest of them are, they're not yes men for sure.
I think Grand Maester Pycelle is actually less of a yes man in the right circumstances. He's a yes man when he needs to be, but I think Grand Maester Pycelle is quite smart, and in that environment, I think he could give wise counsel.
You're right, because in her smallest council, he was the only one who was saying, am I the only one who sees how bad of an idea this is?
Exactly.
But unfortunately, Cersei can only see Tyrell men and therefore enemies making up this host, or making up this small council, glossing over the fact that the Reach army is the only army that they have right now.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's the thing. Her obsession with that ever since Marjorie came into the picture it's been her undoing. If she could have just said, well, I've got a strong ally. I'm going to lose some control over my son because of this strong ally, but so be it.
Yeah.
Then they could have secured their position, but she went the opposite direction.
That coin in Rugen the jailer's cell has really been a major factor in all of this as well, because she's convinced that the Tyrells paid him to free Tyrion.
Yep, it's a good point. So Marjorie is free, still faces trial, but the case against her is so weak. Honestly, if I'm the Faith, I dismiss it. The major confessor has recanted and has explained why he confessed.
Yeah,
and was put up to it by her enemy.
And all the people that he accused as well have denied it. It's not like any of them have said,
"Right,
no, I did what he claims I did."
So basically, you've got two accusations: one from a person who's now admitted to lying, and the other from a lunatic.
Right.
So I wouldn't bother. If it's trial by combat, I would have Penny and Tyrion do it, honestly. Because the whole thing's a farce,
Yeah, and she's queen. It's not like she's just some commoner.
Exactly.
She is the queen. You're dragging her through a trial.
Can anyone walk up the great Sept of Baelor and say, "Hey, I slept with the queen," and she gets dragged off again to another trial by combat?
Yeah. Now, what we learn is that the Tarly army, Randall Tarly, Sam Tarly's dad, terrible person, was the first to reach King's Landing with an army and used his position to influence the High Septon into basically releasing Marjorie and her cousins on bail.
Which, I don't know if the High Septon is just a big old sexist, but he didn't act like that towards Cersei.
Right.
He didn't act like someone who would capitulate to a show of force.
Yeah.
But he did to Randall Tarly. I wonder if by that time he was like going, "We've got the wrong one here. Let's let her go." That
Very
probably
much.
is more that than anything else.
Agreed. Yes, because he has no case anymore. His case has completely fallen apart.
Yeah.
It just happened that Randall Tarly showed up with an army and said, "We want these girls
we were
out
looking
of
for
here."
someone to take her home. Thanks, Randall. So Cersei learns of the terrible news from Dawn that Myrcella's been disfigured in this attack, and that Aerys Oakheart has died, which is good news for Cersei, but the other part isn't. That's got to be awful to be in a cell and hear the news that your child has been injured and nothing you can do about it. That's awful, and it must sort of exacerbate her worries for Tommen. I think some of her, I really want to go back to the Red Keep to see my son, is just her playing the game, but at the same time she also feels it too, and so it's heartbreaking news for anyone who isn't a complete narcissist. So it's fine. It's just Cersei.
Right. Yeah, she feels like she's the only one who can properly take care of Tommen and properly run the realm, and she's doing not a great job on one and a terrible job on the other. Luckily, Tommen is just generally sweet-natured.
Yeah, he's not Joffrey, you mean?
Yeah. But it looks like Doran Martell was only able to stall Balon Swan for so long. You remember that Areo Hotah chapter? Swan finally made it to the Water Gardens and got the intel from Marcella. And they went with the plan that they discussed in that Areo Hotah chapter and blamed Aerys's death on Darkstar, not on not on Areo Hotah, who was the one that actually killed him. So, but her immediate response before she even knows what Kevan is about to say, says it's Tyrion. And if that coin drove her over the edge that we just talked about a minute ago, this ear for a nose thing is going to, she's going to be seeing Tyrion in her cereal. I'm afraid.
Yes, that is very true. Yeah.
Her alphabet cereal is going to spell Tyrion.
Tyrion did it. He always did it. So, just lastly, just to think about trial by combat for her, it does give her a chance. I mean, to me, it feels like the stumbling block might be getting this great fighter of Qyburn's onto the Kingsguard. But again, if he's the physical specimen that Qyburn claims him to be, then Kevan might just go, well, we've lost one and we're probably losing Loras too. This seems like I could take a chance on this guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like you said, if it's Qyburn, if he fits Qyburn's description, be hard to pass up, especially when there could be 2 open spots. We know there's one confirmed.
Yeah. You can spend a bit more time on the other one, perhaps, to sort of like do a, tourney to determine who's the best of the best.
Yeah, when it looked really grim for Marjorie and she wanted her brother Garland to champion her because of Loras's injuries, I was thinking about this when I was reading over the chapter this week. If Loras had died and Marjorie was still in the way that she is, in a really bad position, things hadn't improved, would Garland have donned that white cloak?
Come to grab a white cloak just to defend her.
On his wife and, his life to defend his sister, make sure she was properly championed.
Interesting. Well, maybe she can borrow Cersei's champion for her own trial by combat if she needs to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's excellent. Let's do some spoilers. Remember, you get the spoilers if you join us at the upper tiers of the Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer levels. You can try any level for a week, so you can listen to some of the spoilers. All right. Excellent. Thank you for the spoilers, Mackelly. How about some background?
Okay. Well, Cersei's been stuck in the Great Sept of Baelor for quite a while now, so let's look a bit more closely at the Sept. Its history, layout, and all that stuff. It was built on Visenya's Hill by command of King Baelor, hence the Great Sept of Baelor, ultimately being a proper replacement for the Sept of Remembrance on the Hill of Rhaenys, which was burned to the ground by Maegor the Misunderstood and Balerion a century beforehand. After its completion, the Great Sept of Baelor supplanted the Starry Sept in Old Town as kind of the center of the faith in Westeros. The Sept itself is an impressive marble structure with a large dome of leaded glass and 7 slender crystal towers, although apparently not all crystal, because Cersei's cells don't appear to be crystal in their makeup.
Dark and cold, as I remember. Not...
Maybe they're only crystal like the first 50 feet or something like that.
Or the top bits, maybe.
Yes, maybe just at the very top. Surrounding the Sept is the white marble plaza with the statue of King Baelor, where Arya watched her father be beheaded, as well as large gardens capable of holding hundreds of people.
Sounds nice. Thank you. Compared with this television show, so the abusing septas are condensed into one. Unella is the only one who's kept. She's played by an unrecognizable Hannah Waddingham. Just when I was watching the scenes again, she said confess, and I could hear her voice. I was like, oh, it is her. The abuse is much more around water deprivation than sleep deprivation. She pours a ladle of water on the floor, and when she leaves the room, Cersei licks the floor to get the water. So,
gosh.
Yeah. After acquiescing, she's taken immediately to the High Septon. It's one of the reasons I thought about that in the book. She doesn't get a good night's sleep before facing the High Septon. She's taken straight there. There she only confesses to sleeping with Lancel, and I think this was a mistake, she absolutely admits that it was happening while Robert was alive. And I think that's a big mistake of the TV show, because I think it's critical that she denies that. Because if she is having an adulterous affair with Lancel, that goes to motive for killing Robert, for both of them.
Yeah. And so it's also treason, right? To step out on the king? I mean, isn't that part of Marjorie's treasonous behavior?
Right. So, I think they got that wrong. I will say a lot of this conversation is kept exactly, including her associating the charge of incest with Stannis, and then it cuts to the High Septon and he says good or something like that, and I think they cut it out because I think he was going to say he is in league with the devil Relor, but I do think they just decided it just hit the cutting room floor, but it looked like he was going to say something to me, so it was kind of like an awkward little cut.
Right, very close to the book here.
Oh yeah. Much of it is the same. The story is simplified and streamlined, so that's literally the only thing she admits to. She isn't even accused of the papicide, which is killing a pope. I looked up. I like my sides, so I looked that one up. Kevan doesn't visit her, and also Kevan is only the hand of the king, not the regent in the TV show.
All right.
Pedantry Corner, I didn't see anything.
No, me either. There's a little slip up in the audiobook in this chapter. Roy Dotrice, when it's the scene where Kevan is talking to Cersei at the end of the chapter, and he says, if anything, I'm mad at you about what you did to my son Lancel, your own nephew, he says in the audiobook. And I thought, was that mistake in the book too? So I looked it up in the book, and no, it's cousin. So
who knew that Roy Dotrice did all of that from memory? That's quite impressive. Although I've seen the two of us read, and
right,
we make similar slip-ups. Yeah, so.
Yeah, although you'd think they have a higher quality of production that they could cut things out and redo things if needed.
I disagree entirely. We don't have anything in news and notes, but this has been a long one, so that's fine. So let's conclude this one. Cersei does live to fight another day, it seems. She has sowed enough seeds of doubt on the unforgivable crimes that she might at least get trial by combat.
Yeah.
And we think she could win this.
Yeah. Her champion, if Qyburn to the rescue, if this champion will be as formidable as he suggests, it sounds like she's got a good shot.
Honestly, though, all members of the Kingsguard are not hopeless. You know, even the hopeless ones are better than your average fighter.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you'd want to stake your life on Boris Blunt.
No. But who's the I mean, is it the High Sparrow? I mean, come on. You could take him, Boris.
He's got the 7 on the side. He's got the warrior behind him. So
true. But, I mean, Boris Blunt, he got to the Kingsguard. He is a coward, but in a trial by combat, you have to win. You can't run away from that one.
Right, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's win or die, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that if Cersei even gets a thimble of power back, I would not want to be these 3 septas. I would have given a fake name to her if I was Unella or Scalera or Moel. I would have gone with...
Has anyone tried spelling Unella backwards? See what comes Alenu? That sounds much more like a name.
And Kevan says the High Septon agreed to some walk to atone for her sins, but she wouldn't even consider it to get out of the detention that she's in. So
yeah. Meanwhile, the case against Marjorie is completely collapsing. She may not even need a trial by combat if it carries on in this direction. So even if Cersei does get away from all this, her star is going to be so diminished, you know, because she's going to have to do this walk of atonement, and it doesn't look like Marjorie's going to have to do that. So the people
she's already out.
She's already out. Yeah, I mean, she still faces some charges, it seems, but she's going to deny them. Cersei is doing the walk of atonement for the sins she confessed to, and Marjorie is not confessing to anything.
Very true.
Even if they press it, it'll be a trial by combat. If she wins, she's off the hook. She's never going to have the same power in King's Landing that she did. You know, even her reputation will never be the same as it was. And Tommen's just going to prefer Marjorie going forward, you know. Marjorie's just a sweet kid.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this for sure. It's going to be awfully awkward around the Red Keep with Cersei and Marjorie both being in there after what you mentioned in the character recap.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, if I was Mace Tyrell, I would say, look, she's got to go. She cannot stay here. She literally tried to get my daughter killed.
Right. Yeah, and there's a logical place for Cersei to go, and that's back to Casterly Rock.
I thought you meant the bottom of the Blackwater.
That
too. And news is that Jaime went with Brienne and has not come back. So let's see where that one leads.
What's going on? We know what's supposed to go on. I just can't wrap my head around the idea of Brienne actually going through with it. But...
Yeah. Well, next week we have... I love the non-named POV chapters. The Queen's Guard, we shall say.
Do you think that could be this mysterious new champion ready to defend Cersei?
Oh, interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Huh.
Actually, I think I know who it is.
Okay, not, and it's not him.
No,
okay.
It's not. I think we're back in Essos. I think it's a different queen we're talking about.
I think so too.
Yeah. There's 3 ways that you can help us. You could leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review. You could buy us a cup of Arbor Gold or become a sustainer at buymeacoffee.com/ghostharrenhall. There's a tier to match your budget and interest. The upper tiers get you the spoilers, and you can try any tier you fancy for a week for free. Or you can make a donation directly to our cause at our website, ghostsofharrenhal.buzzsprout.com.
And if you're looking for more ways to interact with us, well, one thing you could do is you could send us a text. The link is at the top of every episode's show notes. Just please keep in mind we have no means of responding, but we do very much enjoy reading them. And if you're interested in keeping up on the latest Ghosts of Harrenhal news and developments, well, I suggest you go out and follow us on our social media. You can follow us on Twitter at Ghosts Harrenhal. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and YouTube.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.